Hey everybody, welcome back to Author Eke. Today we have Jennifer Longmore, and she is north of the border, so it's probably a little bit cooler than where I'm at. So Jennifer, thank you for stopping by today on Author Eke. So please introduce yourself to the crowd, and let's talk about your book and whatever else kind of pops in our head.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, yes, I am Jennifer Longmore. I've been in business for 20 years. This is my 12th book.
Dang!
Yeah, I'm a little bit crazy. I had a interesting experience last September where I went from being Jennifer to becoming Mother Malia, the Great Mother, who only comes to the planet during times of great transition like we are in now, which is why my voice
Man, you
sounds
got to be
different.
busy.
I am very busy. There's a lot going on. And so I do my best to try and sound sort of normal and human, but as you well can see, my voice and my face is different and such because I am now channeling 24/7, you know. So, yeah, but prior to all of this, if you can believe it, I used to be a forensic investigator for many years, which is also why in 2020 I did not have to get my cognitive dissonance bubble popped because it had already been popped in my 20s when I learned that the people that are positioned to be trustworthy are often the least trustworthy people on the planet. And that is not to say, of course, there are not wonderful people in every profession, but we are conditioned heavily to believe that police are to be trusted, lawyers, judges, teachers, you know, doctors, etc. And those were often the people I was investigating for pretty, you
Wow,
know, very, very wonderful crimes. Let's put it that
heinous
way.
crime.
Yes, well, very concerning crimes. And as you know, it is not uncommon for people to scream against child pornography and yet have a ton of it on their computer, etc., you know. So I'll just leave it at that. I share that because people, I think, sometimes wonder if I've maybe lost the plot, so to speak, now that I'm in this new energy. But I'm a very educated, sound, mentally stable person who just happens to, you know, have been channeling my whole life. But now we have, as you well know, a lot going on the planet that requires a lot more unity among the people to say, hey, we have had enough and we are going to take our planet back.
So explain the channeling aspect of it. Explain that
Yes,
in which to
yes.
your definition.
When I was about 3, my parents took me for my first past life regression with them as a family. We went to a trance channel who is someone that literally leaves the body and, an ascended being will come in and channel. And they wanted to go see why they came together as a couple, why we came together as a family, and various things. And the majority of the day was actually focused on the adults. So all these adults would swim up to me in the pool saying, hello, little girl, what is the nature of the universe? And I would, go into my thing about the universe and they would all sort of be held captive. And so I spent my life wondering why I was upsetting people, why I was freaking people out, because I knew things that I didn't know that they didn't know, if you get what I
Right.
mean.
Yeah.
And but I was kind of, I would get these, I will just say for ease, these intuitive messages and just deliver them. But now, the channel has taken over the mouth, so to speak. So it basically, I'm just helping to clear all of the programming and distortions that we've all been subject to that takes us away from the truth of who we be, which is that we are created in divine perfection. So anytime we are worrying, anytime we are believing that we are not enough or too much or any of those things, that is literally, if we drill it down to the root, is just a sign of a program that is running that wants us to convince us that we are unworthy humans living on this planet.
So do you consider yourself like a vessel?
Yes,
Uh,
yes. So it is a little different because my human part is still here. I need her almost like a brick on a helium balloon so that the helium balloon doesn't float away, if you get what I mean. So most times when people are trans channeling, they have another human that helps them kind of come in and out of the body because they lose complete lucidity, whereas I am in this state 24/7. So I have to have my human present enough to know how to type emails and feed the body and, various things. But my perspective really is operating from neutrality and above. And this is where we are heading into the new world that we are creating for ourselves, is to move out of doing, move into being, being able to hold states of joy much longer, getting out of the worry and the stress and so on that comes from a heavily programmed world, basically.
So when you sleep,
Yes.
what do you dream about? Do you dream about the human side or the spiritual side, or I mean,
Yes.
what goes through your head? Or do you go in and out?
Well, the body will be able to rest for sure, but there are many times that the channel is just always buzzing, I suppose, So there's I don't know if you've ever had this experience where you're sleeping, but you're awake, almost like, when you have to go to the bathroom when you're sleeping. So you're
Mhm.
awake enough to know you have to go to the
Yep.
bathroom, but you're too asleep to get out of bed. That will
Hey,
be
I'm
the best.
65. I know that.
Yes, I've known that my whole life. I have a tiny bladder. And yeah, so that will be the equivalent of how I will say. So I don't worry about human things. So human things don't keep me up at night, but I do get nonstop messages. And so sometimes I have to just put my foot down and say, no, the body must rest, because
Okay. Well, I've never met anybody like you, so this is interesting. And so what you've done is you decided to write a book about this, right?
yes, yes. So I try to give little bite-sized pieces of channeled information to people to help them get into the truth of who they be. There's so many distortions, as you know. We all know this, right? The language that we're being asked to use here is the language that belongs to, I just say for ease, the silly billies that think they're running the planet. They created the language, they created the money system, they created it all. And so here we are living in a heavily distorted system as beings of light, I suppose I will say, when we come out of the womb, we are in pure perfection, and then all of a sudden we get exposed to the world and learn that we should have worries, and we should think we are too much, or that we are not enough, or that we have to work hard in order to have something, and various things. So these are just daily messages and people can read it every day, or they can just kind of open it up to the page they most need, almost like a big oracle deck, so to speak, and receive a message that they most need to hear in that moment. It's just meant to remind us that in a crazy world that is topsy-turvy, that is literally inverted and is very confusing and so on, to remind us of the truth of who we really are.
So do you have different feelings or premonitions or whatever, optimist versus a pessimist,
Oh,
female
yes.
versus male?
Yes, I try to stay out of the polarities, but when I say that I live in neutrality, I can look at situations and say, I don't like what I see happening to the children, or I don't like what I see happening to the water. But where we go into judgment is we place meaning on it. So let's say for ease, I will go into the grocery store and I will be pushing my cart down the chip aisle. And I will look at a bag of Doritos, which I have been told is bad by society. It's like a dirty little secret, so to speak. And I see a bag of Doritos and I say, oh, there's a bag of Doritos. That is neutral. And then maybe I might say, I like the taste of Doritos, and that is neutral. Where it becomes an issue is I make meaning of it and I say, that bag of Doritos is bad, and I am bad for wanting that bag of Doritos. And then that instantly becomes judgment. Well, judgment lasts for
Then
about
you
a
feel
sec.
good after eating it.
Yes, exactly. And then you feel like poop again. Uh, but where it becomes an issue is that judgment instantly transitions into shame, blame, or guilt, and that becomes very heavy in our energy field. And so throughout the entire day, we are constantly judging without realizing it. And then we judge ourselves for judging, and then we feel bad for judging, and we get into a shame spiral, a guilt spiral, etc. And all of that can be averted when we just allow ourselves to live in the question as much as possible. Like, that is interesting. I wonder why that person is choosing that for themselves. Or if we go into the grocery store and someone bangs into us with a cart, we need to make meaning of it. That person is dumb. That person is mean. That person is rude. Well, maybe that person just got served divorce papers, or just found out they had a stage 4 diagnosis, or that they just learned that, someone in their family passed away. We don't know. It could be that
Right,
that person is rude, of course.
right,
But we like to ascribe meaning to so much, and then we have to manage the meanings, right? And then we're managing problems, we're managing thoughts, and we are not managers. We are CEOs of our life and business. So we can have a lot less stress if we allow ourselves to stop making meaning of so much that frankly doesn't even matter.
right. So you're trying not to judge a book by its.
Yes. Yeah, I see what you did there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because you're trying to get through the facade or get through that initial interaction and try to focus on other things that might be
Yes.
occurring
Yeah,
even in your
exactly.
life, I guess. So do you think so do you feel energy, and are there different places you feel different energy? I mean, like the Great Pyramids of Egypt,
Yes, I have
right?
not been there, but yes, I have been to Sedona many times. There's a lot of energy running through
Yeah,
Sedona. I think most
yeah.
people know that. Well, frankly, there's even in Manhattan, there's a lot of energy there, not just the frenetic sort of buzz, but there's actually energy there. Asheville, boy, so many places. I will be going to Greece again this year, and there's a lot of energy in Greece. So, yes, we can definitely, even if I drive by a graveyard, certainly if there are some spirits there that are not at peace, I can feel that very, very quickly. My husband will watch and
Wow.
say, yes, I get winded very quickly, and my husband will say, you felt something there. I say, yes, and he's not, spiritual at all, but he is aware of that. So yes, I am constantly scanning the energy to see what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And it's not that I make it good or bad. It's just I like to be around energy that is neutral or above.
So what's the name of
It is called Daily Messages from Mother Malia, the Great Mother. And it's really about having 365 days of messages, just to raise your spirits and allow you to remember who you are, basically.
Right, right, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you write before this? What kind of books did you write? Were they the same type spiritual type
Yes.
books, channeling
Yes.
books and things?
Yes. I have a book called Heal Your Money Story, which is on Amazon, and that is to help people understand the big money blocks and how to clear them. So it's almost like definitely a self-help book, so to speak, but also lots of exercises in there to not just leave you dangling in the discomfort, but to say, okay, how do we move this forward? I've written some other channel books, and I have also even done some collaborative books on how to live in alignment with your purpose and various things. So yes, I'm getting ready to launch my 13th book this year, which will be another book on money because, of course, everyone loves to talk about the money. They
Everybody
love
wants
to
to talk
make
about
money
money,
wrong, but
no
they
matter no
also,
matter what they're
also
doing with it. So
yes, exactly.
so you were in the path of the eclipse, Toronto, right?
Yes.
And how did that have some kind of an effect, or do you feel like when all the planets are in alignment, do you feel something, or the full moon? I mean, I don't know.
Yes, I know there are certain times that, like, even we know the governments take advantage of astrology to use it in their favor as well to launch wars and various things. So, as much as whether we want to believe in astrology or not, there is something to it because we also know the full moon has the ability to create tidal waves, and we are made of water primarily. So, no wonder, when I used to work in forensics, guess who got the shifts every full moon to be on call? And I will have the craziest, craziest cases ever on the full moon.
Especially if
Nur-
it's in the summertime and it's hot.
yes,
People.
nurses will tell you the same thing, people in mental health hospitals, etc. So there really is something to the astrology for sure. And there are times where the influence can be very, very strong and very, very can throw us off course, so to speak. So I don't know. That seems like a long time ago. Yes, that the eclipse went through. I just stared at it the whole time. My husband said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh well, I'm gonna just stare at it. My eyes are already toast." But not everyone got a chance to see it because it was also actually quite cloudy that day.
Yep. It
But
was
we did.
cloudy in Dallas, but we got some. It kind of broke a little bit, so yeah,
Oh, did it? Okay,
yeah.
yeah. So we got it. We got to see it for sure. Yeah, it's well, we all know. We can reasonably assume that there are things going on in astrology when we see kind of the collective also feeling like the last week or so people have been very crunchy with each other. And yes, there is an upcoming election in the US, and so that can also create, I call it Bickerfest
Really?
2024. Yeah,
I hadn't
I
even
know,
noticed.
I know.
No, I didn't
Well,
notice. Interesting.
yes, I know. I've now labeled it Bickerfest 2024 because everyone likes to fight over things and they're not understanding it has already been predetermined. And so you're fighting over the same bird, which wing of the bird is the better option. It's
Yep,
the same bird.
yep.
And that is true in every country, of course. Uh, Anyways, yes, it is. It is interesting times right now. We will notice that there are times where we have people that are, people seem to be in flow in their lives, and we see waves of people being very conflict oriented. Sometimes we see waves of depression in the collective as well. So that's how we know that the energies are being manipulated to control the people.
When you go into a church or a synagogue or a mosque or
Yeah.
wherever, right, temple, do you feel anything? Especially if it's like if you go to Europe, these old churches normally they have a lot of them have like a Catholic, they have a saint buried or something in there, or they'll have a relic or
Yeah.
something in there. Do you kind of like the
Yes.
Vatican?
Yes. Well, I haven't been to the Vatican. I didn't even realize the Vatican was a country. I just
Yes,
learned that recently. The typical arrogance of the
yeah,
Vatican,
we
to
destroyed their neutrality during World War II. So yeah, that's probably
ah, yes, I hadn't realized it's the smallest country in the world, but it is its own country, which I just think speaks volumes if people understand what's happening in the world. But yes, I certainly can go in. There are some very, very peaceful monasteries I have been in. You can feel the peace right away because
yeah. I
people
would agree.
create the conditions to do that. I've been in many Buddhist temples. And what is interesting too is that as humans, when we go into these facilities, nobody needs to tell us to be silent. Nobody needs to tell us to be reverent. No one needs to tell us to, for example, in a Buddhist temple, to take off your shoes and bring an offering. There's a deep knowing on a human level. And yet, with each other, we are all kind of walking around in golden temples, if you get what I mean. And yet we totally disregard our own temple and allow other people to do the same. And yet we all know without needing to be told what honor looks like. And yet that is one of the things that is happening a lot, with in humanity right now, is a lack of honor and reverence for each other because we're all doing our best.
So give the Author Eke crowd here one of your daily spiritual things to
Okay.
get your crap back in one sock.
Okay, well, we do want to remember that we are the ceremony and we are the celebration. And so we often don't treat ourselves that way. We're so busy beating ourselves up in our head and allowing other people to do the same. And we also don't create ceremony when the ethereal beings say that being human is a highly revered role in the universe. I'll just say for ease. For those that are in the spirit teams, that we can't see, they have so much admiration and respect for us and what we have to put up with, being on this
Right,
planet
right.
because they know it's not easy. And so they would like us to know that we are the ceremony and the celebration and that it is an honor to be human. I recognize not everyone feels that way, but what would happen if we started treating our body like a ceremony, if we started treating just our day-to-day life as a ceremony and carved out a few hours a day or a few minutes a day just to acknowledge, hey, high five kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have like a favorite philosopher or somebody that you who would you like align with? If you ever had like a mentor.
I will just say the creator. Yes, sadly, many of the people on the world stage are distorted and they are put there for a reason. And so,
I'd say you're being very kind to him when you say that, by the way.
yes, well, for example, Gandhi, who is a big deceiver, has a quote or is alleged to have a quote that says, "You will not walk through my mind with your dirty feet." Do I like that saying? Absolutely. I do believe we all need to hold pristine conditions in our consciousness because there's far too much coming at us that dirties the mind, so to speak, gossip and distortion and lies, etc. But as we know, whoever controls the knowledge controls the people. So anyone that is on the world stage as a
That's true.
historian, a philosopher, etc., we can reasonably assume that they are compromised. And so I'm not saying everyone is, but because I'm aware that I can't really trust much on the world stage anymore, I say, you know what, I'm just going to trust the source and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to do a lot. I've always said, whoever has the most, knowledge or data wins. And
Yes,
I've been saying that for years and years, being in business and, technology and stuff, because that's how it works. The more information I can get on my customers or, their buying habits, Amazon, right? I'll buy something, then I'll say, oh, you should buy this too. And I'm like, no, I don't want to buy that. So I think their algorithms are somewhat faulty because
yes,
I don't think I bought anything ever that they said I should have bought because I bought something else. Because I don't want to be manipulated like that.
Yes.
I want to go ahead and do my own thing.
Yeah.
Then you got AI coming on board. You don't even know if it's somebody real talking to you,
Yes.
which I can tell because I used to work in the IVR business where people call you, and if somebody, you get a call and like 2 or 3 seconds, I don't hear anything, I hang up. I'm sorry. Because I already know what it's doing in the back end.
Yes.
So it's just, I don't want to be manipulated like that. I just hang up.
Yes. And it's so interesting you say that because so many people are grateful that other things are recommended to them,
Yeah, I
you
don't like
know? Yes, it does feel intrusive. I used to work at a credit card company in the HR department, and they had a whole team of that PhDs in math that would study your buying habits. I'm saying this to everyone listening because if you don't know, there is an immense amount of research that goes into you to decide if someone like me that pays my bill every month, I am the least desirable company with a credit card company. But because they see I'm a responsible buyer, they constantly try to sell me warranties because they know for $5 a month times a million customers, that's $5 million a month just in warranties that most people will forget they even have and are never going to need. Not to mention you're going to fight with the warranty company anyways, usually, And then,
it doesn't matter anyways because most of the stuff is from China, and the life expectancy on any type of electronic equipment is nothing compared to what it was when it was made in America. I mean, I'll buy I don't buy them anymore. I bought a DVD player or something. I know in 2 years I'm going to buy another one because this is going to be a piece of crap. Or even appliances now when you're buying them. I know my parents had the same refrigerator for 20, 25 years.
yes.
I've lived in a house for 28 years and had 4 of them. You spend all this high dollar on something that's going to break and they want to give you a warranty, and it doesn't matter unless it's replacement after so many years. Yeah, I don't buy those either normally. Normally I don't
Yes,
buy them.
and they even look at, okay, well, they study your actual purchases. They say, oh, okay, she is buying lawn care, she is buying furniture protector, she is buying this, she really loves her stuff. Let's sell her a warranty. Let's sell her these other things. Let's sell her insurance. And so it is back to your point about Amazon and such, most of these are data mining collections. Look at the fact that what was the company that just bought out the ancestor.com? Most people knew that
BlackRock.
ancestor.com.
I think
Yes,
BlackRock.
yes.
They're
And
they're
most
not good people. I
No,
hate
they
to
are
say
not. They are not good people. And I have met people that have worked there, and I will tell you, their energy is very funky. So, to say the least, I feel like they're innocent enough, but there is something in the culture almost that it's like you breathe it in the air, right? It is a very, I will say, dark culture. But yes, most people knew that Ancestor.com was just a mining place for your DNA so they can use it against you. And they often didn't even tell you the truth anyways. Most times people had incomplete information or they were sold a bill of goods. Or look at your pets. You get your pet DNA assessed and it comes back with 75 different breeds and you say,
no.
well, that wasn't helpful.
I think my dog will come back a puppy. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm definitely not gonna do my dog. So, how do you like to write? Do you like to write in total silence, or do you like to listen to music, or do you like to in morning, afternoon, evening, or whenever you get a chance? What's your preference?
Well, what I like to do is I like to record all of my thoughts and then I have them transcribed. I actually do better when I speak out my thoughts. I actually get done. I can get a book done in about what depends. Sometimes like my money book I wrote in about 2 hours. I wasn't even planning on writing it, it just came out of me.
Wow,
So yeah, it was kind of a strange experience, frankly.
I can spend a lot of money in 2 hours though.
Yeah, exactly. But typically I work a lot faster if I can speak out my thoughts. They're weirdly more organized. I get a little more writer's block if I try to write. Then I have it. Well, now I have AI that can transcribe it. That's not always perfect, but at least I can, cut and
Right.
paste and organize, and I have a sense of. So how I do it is, I say, okay, on a meta level, what is the book going to be about? How is it going to be of high service to the people? Because if it's not going to be of high service, then I'm not going to bother writing it. Then I say, okay, well, at the end of the book, how do I want them to feel? And what kind of book? Do I want this to be a reference book that they have forever, like this book we're talking about now? Do I want it to be something that's interactive that actually is basically like a written coaching book almost? And then I say, okay, well, what do I need to cover so that they get that? And then I break that into, let's say, 10 to 12 chapters, usually, if it's a chapter book, of course. And then I say, okay, this chapter is about, I'm just going to make it up, money. And then I just literally channel every possible thought I have about money and what money hangups are and what if you do this, this will happen. And then I organize that. And then I have the publisher will have the editor go through it and just, dot the I's and cross the T's and so
Yes.
on. And then we're good. And so that way I can pump out way more books because most people, as you know, they will wait for the inspiration. They will sit in front of their computer for hours. And a lot of people will actually write a book way quicker if they can just write it out, have it transcribed. Because it is still written. It is still written word, right? It is still thought, no matter whether the word is verbal or written. And that has just worked very well for me. Plus, I think I not like to label myself, but I do think I have some ADHD, which is probably why I got that book done in 2 hours. But
Oh, yeah.
if I am heavily distracted and I'm not touched by the hyper focus fairy, that could take me months and months and months before I
I know
got a
I
book
do.
written.
I have a little bit of tension shift, probably
Okay,
say
yeah.
the
What is
least.
your process?
Well, I have to really like the last book, one of four. It was a historical World War One fiction, but it's the diary of the soldier that's in the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So, but it's also about a father and son who find the diary and retrace his steps and bond back together, the father and son, by reliving, see how the struggles of the soldier and all he went through. And I had to get in the mind of the unknown soldier. The main character in the book has no attributes. The Invisible Man, you know more about the Invisible Man than you do about this unknown soldier. But because I had to keep it like that out of the respect for the real soldier laying in state, entombed in the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So that's one thing. But I just felt compelled to write it. I mean, I had to get the story out. So it took about 5 months, I guess. I'm doing a lot of research because I had to make sure that the historical things are correct. As a matter of fact, my wife and I just got back from France and Germany where we relived the book. We went to the places in the book. And there's a bookstore in the book that I gave a book to when I was in Paris. So they have a book of one of four in the bookstore that's in the book. That's kind of crazy. But we went to the cemetery and where the soldier was selected for the tomb out of four. One of four means there was four soldiers, no soldiers exhumed. One was chosen. This is his story. I like to write in the morning because I think I'm fresher. I like
Okay.
to work out, get some good endorphins going, and really be creative and start writing. I don't outline. I'll write. Pantsers, I guess what they call them. I'll just write. I don't have a set limit, but I like to be able to get done. What I do is I set a deadline of when I want to get the book done. And I'm self-published, but I'm pretty good with deadlines. So I do that. And I can write like on 2 and 3 books at one time. Go back and forth. I mean, this one, I was 50,000 words into another book, a third book in a series, and I stopped. Because I had this idea, and I stopped and wrote that. Focused 100% of my attention on that. So, kind of crazy. That's the way I do it.
Well, that's how you know that you really are living in your mission as a writer, because for you to be able to toggle that way and to be able to produce that much in a short period of time and stay focused and be able to honor the deadlines and so on, that is very remarkable.
I've only been writing for 2.5 years, so
Well,
I don't
something
even know
got
why.
switched
I
on,
think
didn't
I
it?
had an aneurysm or something.
Maybe you became a channel too.
Oh, who knows, man? I don't think I subscribed to it, but the books are great. People go and read the books; they're great.
No, I get what you're saying, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happens to me, just getting the relentless nudges that don't lead me away, that or leave me alone. I can't do anything but honor the nudge, if you get what I mean. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's wonderful, and the amount of lives you're touching with that book is just incredible.
yeah, it's emotional for me when I read it. Even for me, I read it. I wrote it, and I still get emotional when I read it because I put so much of me in it, or
Yeah,
my thoughts, or the thoughts of the soldier, the respect. Because I want people to read it. When they read it, they go, I want them to see in their mind who this person can be. He's spiritual. He's heroic. He's good, sympathetic. He has empathy, right? This could be the person. I don't know if he's tall, short. I don't know anything about him. I don't want to know. But I want the foreman. Oh, this could be the person that's in there. Been there.
Oh, that's so amazing. So what's the next one going to be?
Well, I'm actually writing a book of a character out of the book, out of 104.
So are you going to create like a trilogy or something to that effect?
I have something in my mind that I want to do. So I'm writing something of one of the characters in the book that I want to tell her story.
Yeah. It sounds like the type of book, yes, that there's already a lot of gold in the first book on this series that you could literally just keep going and going with all different themes and twists and turns and
Yep.
and developing out the characters. Wouldn't it
Yeah.
be fun if this got made into a movie?
Well, that people say it'd be a great movie, but it has to be shot when they do the soldier. It has to be shot in the first person because you cannot see the soldier. You
Oh,
cannot know who he is because
true.
then that takes away from what I believe honoring the soldiers is in Tomb of the Unknowns.
Yeah. Wow. I could
I
see
actually got
that
approached
though.
yesterday. I was doing a local chamber of commerce here in Allen, Texas. Great city, by the way. And they have a little theater group here, right, that does. And the guy came and said, "Man, you ever thought about maybe doing a one-act play on this thing?" He said, "It'd be fantastic." So I said, "You know what?" I said, "I don't write screenplays because I don't know how." So I said, I'll sponsor it. I mean, you know, I already produced a movie once before for my nephew, who said, "Hey, Uncle Travis, I want to write a movie. I want to I want to film a movie." I'm like, "If you ever do, let me know. I'll give you the money," because I didn't think he'd ever do it. Don't ever do that. He did it.
Yeah,
So I gave him a check. So I was a producer. So I have a IMDb page, right? So
that's great.
it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Why not? It's just fun to have these experiences, you know?
Oh, I got a ton of them.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah,
so great.
yeah. What's the name of your book? And where can everybody get a hold of you to check out your book?
Okay, well, if you just find me on social media under Jennifer Longmore, you'll see me, in all the different platforms. And then I know it's on Amazon, it's probably on other, online things as well. It is called Daily Messages from Mother Malia, the Great Mother. And it will be a very easy read. It's meant to be a very light, sort of infinite book. I mean, like you will always have it and can just pick it up when you need a good message.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, so folks, check it out because we are in interesting times, to say the
Yes.
least. No matter where you're at, I've traveled all over Europe this summer. Not all over, but a couple countries, maybe three or four, and it's all the same, just different languages.
Yes.
To say the least. So great. Well,
Exactly.
Jennifer, it's been interesting to say the least,
Yes.
uh, talking to you. And I hope folks go out and check out the book because, just one sentence may turn your life around. And
Yeah.
that's all it takes.
Exactly. Thank
One
you so
sentence.
much.
Well, thank you. And folks, go out and check her book out. And I'll have a picture of the cover when I post it on social media. And and her links to her stuff. So great, Jennifer. Thank you very much. And I wish you to have the best.
Thank you so much.